February 27, 2026. This is Sunny from Night Muse Strange News Throwback. So, tonight, I want you to imagine something for me. I want you to imagine that we are holding something very small. It's something that it could rest quietly and calmly in the palm of your hand. And this something is a ring. It's a brilliant gold, beautiful blue stone, handmade more than 800 years ago. It was discovered in Norway, in one of the country's oldest towns. It was buried and it waited silently. And I can't help but wonder who wore it last. We may never know that. But archaeologists say the craftsmanship, it suggests wealth. The band is delicately worked, it's intentional. The blue stone is possibly sapphire, most probably colored glass, but either way, meaningful and would have cost a few pennies even back then. In the medieval world, see, blue wasn't just a color, it was protection, it was divinity, it was a color code for status. And this one always like gets me because back then blue represented heaven itself. And if it was in a mineral form or a stone, it was believed that heaven had been pressed into the very formation of that stone. Wild. And if you wore blue on your hand in the 1200s, you weren't just accessorizing, you were definitely making a statement. Unlike today, there was no add to cart button, no overnight shipping, and no influencer discounts. There was a goldsmith, there was fire and time and skill, and someone willing to trade serious wealth for something beautiful because gold was still expensive back then. And this part, it moves me when I think about the ring surviving things like plagues and wars, kingdoms that rose and fell, and wooden ships that crossed violent seas. It survived the person who loved it, and then it also survived the person who loved the person that wore it. And then it disappeared. It was lost in soil, forgotten by history, until someone with a very careful brush and a patient eye brought it back to light. And suddenly, 800 years collapses into a single breath. Jewelry like this tells archaeologists more than just fashion trends. It reveals trade routes, access to materials, the social structures involved, who could afford gold, and what valued symbolism were they expressing. Even the choice of the stone, whether it be real sapphire or colored glass, it tells us so much about the people, the economy, the geography. So were they just kind of flexing the bling, or were they expressing a belief system? I think that part is really important because let's be honest, okay? Human beings, we haven't changed that much. Not really at the core, right? We still buy things to signal who we want the world to think we are. We still treasure objects and then we still go and lose the things. Somewhere right now, someone is tearing apart their house looking for a wedding band they just had. Or maybe they're asking a family member to, hey, will you call my phone? I only hear that a few times a day. And 800 years from now, someone might excavate a drawer full of tangled charging cables and wonder about our civilization. Ooh. But this ring, it sat quietly in the earth for centuries, and it didn't rush and it didn't decay. It simply waited. And that makes me think about time differently. What are we leaving behind that will speak for us? What small object of ours is going to survive a long enough time to tell a stranger that I was here? I mean, I have thought about this with all the people who are incinerating themselves at death now, 500, 600, 2,000 years from now. Those people are not going to be around for archaeologists to dig up. I think I think that is important. So tonight, somewhere in Norway, a medieval ring, it rests under a museum light. It's no longer lost and it's no longer silent, and perhaps, just perhaps, it's telling its story still. We just have to listen. This is Night Muse Throwback News. Follow the signals, question the noise. We'll see you on the night side.